part of the Smart Nation Together channel organized by the Smart Nation and Digital Government Office. This month, we are very glad to have with us NTUC Learning Hub, who is bringing us a series of exciting webinars. And if you'd like to find out the other webinars that we're hosting this month, do visit the link that I'll be pasting in the chat box. I'm Cheryl from SNDGO, and I'll be your host for this session. Today, we're very privileged to have with us our speaker, Zainal, an experienced trainer with NTUC Learning Hub. He will be bringing us through today's webinar, Building Brand Presence with Digital Marketing. Do feel free to post any questions that you have for Zainal during the webinar at the Q&A box, and he'll be getting to them at the end. So now over to you, Zainal.
A very good afternoon to each and every one of you. Thank you, Cheryl, for the short introduction. Well, ladies and gentlemen, really glad to have each and every one of you setting aside your time on a Thursday afternoon just to be here, even though for just 1.5 hours. I hope this 1.5 hours are going to benefit you tremendously. Allow me to just do a quick introduction of myself. My name is Zainal, like what Cheryl mentioned earlier on, and you can either call me Zainal or Abbas. That's fine with me. If you want to find out more about myself, there is a QR code here that will link you directly to my LinkedIn Learning profile. Well, there's so much about me that I would like to share with each and every one of you. Allow me to just go straight into today's topic. That's why we are here today, isn't it? Right? So what exactly is digital marketing? Some of us might be thinking digital marketing maybe it's about having presence on the internet, or it could be a situation where we put up online marketing. Well, to be honest with you, it is a combination of both, where you're making use of the technique as well as the technologies to promote your brands, your product, and services to your target market over a range of online channels. Then again, when we talk about online channel, there are so many channels that we need to understand and appreciate each of their strengths and weaknesses, right? So without further ado, allow me to just share with you a little bit more about what digital marketing is all about. And the next slide that I'm going to share with you will talk about the concept of digital marketing, because as you can see, there are many digital marketing techniques and tools available to businesses to help them to market themselves online, such as affiliate marketing. What exactly is that? This is where you get a rewarding aside of or individual for each sales or lead it generates as a result of promoting your business, for example. So basically you have like a freelancer or commission salesperson who promote your product and services. So you pay them for every successful leads that turn or converted to actual sales, for example. The other one will be talking about display advertising, where you can see it on screen. It is here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the one. As you can see, the laser pointer is pointing at. Here, talking about advertising online in a variety of formats. It could be display advertising, including banner ads, rich media, for example, interstitial ad, or video advertisement. And next to that will be content marketing. What exactly is this? Is this talking about when you create and share useful, relevant, and quality content to achieve the common goal of marketing, right? And the third one will be search engine marketing, or commonly known as SEM. This is where you increase website traffic and visibility via search engine result pages through paid as well as organic or unpaid method. Like for example, mobile marketing, reaching out to consumer through their mobile phone, smartphone, and tablets. And of course, the next one will be email marketing, where you reach to your intended consumer via email using text as well as rich media format. Of course, there are other versions, like for example, social media marketing, which all of us are very familiar with, I believe, like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. The whole idea is to raise brand awareness and at the end of the day, generate sales and website traffic. Last but not least, what we have is search engine optimization, where you optimize websites to increase their visibility in search engine unpaid result, also known as organic or natural earned result. And finally, what we have is analytics, which is this one here. Yeah, this is where you have a process of using tools for tracking and analyzing the behavior of website visitors to inform marketing strategies as to what exactly is happening, so that you will be able to recognize the trends and pattern, whether to find out your marketing campaign is effective or otherwise. That's where you do incremental changes to your content or your marketing concept. So let's dive in to find out this digital marketing. What is the advantages of digital marketing per se? So when you look at digital marketing, right, I'm sure first and foremost is that we need to look at the cost itself. So in terms of digital marketing itself, generally they are less expensive compared to traditional marketing channels, such as, for example, mass media like television, radio, and print. Because the design and production cost for a print or TV ad, plus the cost of buying the advertising space in a magazine or TV channel, are usually much higher as compared to online banner or video ad. And secondly is that the measurement of it, it is easier to track and measure progress. Why? Because through the campaign itself, you will be able to find out for yourself how well the reach and the number of people actually click your advertisement, for example, because there are tracking tools that you can make use of. Vis-a-vis talking about traditional media, where you will probably know how effective it is based on the actual sales that you get, provided you ask your customer or your consumer where did they find out about your product and services. So there's additional activities that you need to do by asking them where did they find out about you. Well, for uh, digital marketing itself, it is already there. There is analytical tools to let you know the effectiveness of your marketing campaign. And thirdly, what we need to look at is the reach itself. Well, I have some question coming in. I will address them like what Cheryl said towards the end of this session itself. Okay, let's go on to the reach itself. When we talk about reach, there are larger demographic. You can even narrow it down to specific group or open it up to the World Wide Web. That's the reason why the internet is there. So on that basis here, the fourth thing is that higher engagement compared to traditional marketing itself. Why? Because digital marketing allow customer to engage with brand directly as opposed to traditional marketing. Because what on social media, for example, customer can like, share, comment on the business content, and in turn, businesses can interact with customers by answering questions or responding to comment, even though the engagement isn't face to face. Everything is online. Interaction is in real time format at any business and directly between businesses and customer itself. And last but not least, it is also catered to people who are mobile. In other words, you are not confined to your targeted customers to access your advertisement or your product and services only in a physical setting, but they can be anywhere, any place, anytime, as long as they are connected to the internet. Well, there's a beauty or the advantage of digital marketing. But on the flip side, let's take a look at what is the disadvantage of digital marketing itself, because there are also some limitation that we need to be aware of. First and foremost, lack of face-to-face interaction. Because when we talk about digital marketing itself, contact with customer is mainly online. So real life interaction is pretty much limited, right? This means that your campaign may not reach customers who prefer real life face-to-face contact. It also means that useful feedback and insight from people who purchase and don't purchase probably will be lost, right? And at times it can be obstructive. What does it mean here? Some users consider some formats of online advertising as annoying, for example, an interruption to their online experience. For example, like pop-up ads, right? Some people come to view online advertising as a clutter and aim to ignore it. So these are some of the things that you need to take into consideration. The third thing will be time commitment to manage it professionally. Because why? When you start on a digital marketing campaign, you probably need professional help to ensure that there is amount of time and resources put into it to make sure that every information that you have up there is current and your social media is available and resources is made available where needed, because a badly managed or abandoned campaign or social profile can have a negative consequences not only to you but also to your businesses. And last but not least, may not be suitable for some product. For example, there will be some customers who can't reach through online channel. For example, customer that is of older generation, for example, may not be familiar or used to online presence, for example, or places where there are limited internet access. So it is important to know about who's your target audience, lifestyle and habits, and whether you will be able to reach them online. All right. Okay. All right. Let's get going. Okay. And second thing is that when we talk about digital marketing itself, there are varieties of ways to have your web presence. And in this aspect here, you got to understand which solution or solutions you choose will depend on your strategy and goal. Like for example, here I have question here, will you be sharing the deck after the training? Okay, that is something that I have to check with Cheryl. And Jeffrey's asking average cost for advertising, say homemade cake. This is where we would like to address your question, Jeff, where when you talk about having a web presence, you got to understand who is your target market, what is your strategy, and what is your goal that you want to achieve. Do you want to have a combination of mobile application, for example, and in addition to that, listing down in a blog, for example, having information or e-commerce websites, for example. So it all depends on what is your budget, right? So moving on, when we talk about all these, first and foremost, in order to have web presence or online presence, we need to have a website, right? So first thing first, I assume that most, if not all of you, have not registered an appropriate website address. So it is good time to do so, right? Well, it is important to register with a website hosting services. There is a local website hosting service, there is regional and international website hosting services, and each of them offer a different type of services at different costs, for example. After you register your website, it is also equally important to have it professionally designed and built. Why? To make sure that it's intuitive, interactive, so that when your user utilize your website or consume your website, they have a wonderful experience altogether. So once your site is ready, last but not least is to promote your website. All right. So these are simple basic steps to creating a website, having it professionally done, and making sure that it's ready. How do you know? You may want to do a test run or trial run with some people that you know in the industry or among friends or colleagues or customer, for example. So through their feedback that you gather, then you can fine tune your website even further before you go live. So let's go on to the next slide, talking about online advertising. So the concept here is that you can advertise through different online channels, such as search engine marketing, like I mentioned earlier on, or it could be through what I call websites and blog, for example. This is referring to display advertising, or it could be via social media advertising. This is where sponsored posts or promoted tweets, for example. Let's take a look at the first one, SEM. What exactly is SEM? Search engine marketing. So from the slide itself, you can say that the ads that appear in search engine result, aka pages that pay per click advertising. So in other words, you only pay when someone click your ad, because by doing this, it enables you to reach customer at the right time, at the right place when they are searching for a specific product or services, right? So by doing so, it allows you to target your customers effectively, and you only pay based on those customers that view your advertisement, right? And SEM platform allows you to create advertising campaign to target your audience when they are searching for your product or services online, like I mentioned. And the two most common SEM platform for search engine advertisings are Google Ad as well as Bing Ad. I'm just going to do one example here. How does SEM work? First and foremost, step number one is that you need to create an SEM platform account. For example, here we're using Google AdWords account. And from there, the second step is to create an ad campaign. Take a look here. This is just a sample template. First and foremost, what you need to do is set your budget, right? Because you need to know how much are you willing to spend for pay per click in Google Ad campaign, for example. So by doing this, you will not overspend and not getting the result or the return that you expect. And secondly is select your target audience by location, for example, or it could be locally or regionally, for example. And thirdly is select the type of advertising network. Right? What does it mean here is that, for example, in Google AdWords, you can select search network, for example, which made up of Google search site using the Google search engine. Note, for SEM, don't select display network because that site allow you to display ads to people while browsing, right? And next step is that select keywords. Okay, when we talk about keywords here, well, here we are referring to what are the words that you think people will search for when they are looking for your product or services. It may include negative keywords that will prevent your ad from showing to eliminate unwanted clicks. So by doing this, it will save cost on your end. Because why? Google keyword planner available if you use Google AdWords. They offers keyword information for search ad, for example. So in doing this, you are able to build your own search engine using specific keywords. And lastly, you need to decide on your bid. This is the maximum amount you want to pay for a click on your ad, right? The SEM platform calculate this based on your budget and the keywords you have selected, or you can set it manually, right? Okay, so moving on here, when you create an ad campaign, first thing first, you got to understand is that write your ad text. This is based on typically include your URL. So here the landing page here, what is your URL? What is the headline? Attention grabbing keywords that you want people to take notice of, and what is the second headline that you want them to think or ponder about your product and services, and give them a brief description of what you are offering, right? And from there, that's where you create your ad using click, and your ad will be displayed. And finally, what are the users searching for? So this is an example here. Let's say, for example, the user is searching for IT training. So they key in certain specific keywords like ECDL. So you can see the landing page will show those sites that have ECDL in them as part of their keywords, for example. So this is SEM, how it works. And then let's move on to online advertising. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So when we talk about online advertising itself, again, the first thing is that you need to create an online advertising account. And then from there, what you need to do is create an ad campaign, right? After you've created your ad campaign, you need to create and design the ad as well. And how is your ad going to be displayed? And finally, once you are satisfied with it, then you need to make payment for your online advertisement. Okay, what are the different types of online advertisement there are? Well, there are a variety of ad formats. You got to decide which type you want to choose from, depending on the suitability of your product or services, as well as your marketing goal. Because what online advertising platform provide tools to help you to create different types of ads. For example, like I mentioned earlier on, Google Display Network provide templates and the display ad builder tool as well. Let's take a look at one example here, talking about text advertisement. So this is just an example. You can see there is a headline, right? We buy your car, 2 hours, we buy cars.com. So tagline is that in 2 hours, we will buy your car. Go to my website called webuycars.com. So in the text only, it contains search ad text, and it contains headline, landing page URL, and a brief description at the bottom here. So this is just a simple, straightforward text advertisement, no image, no video whatsoever, because it includes a call to action button, right? Where is it? At the bottom here. So see what viewers vehicle we buy, live chat with a buyer, why sell to webuycars.com FAQ. So these are call to action button where your potential customer can click and communicate or interact with you depending on where they are in the buying process, for example, right? Text ad. Moving on, the next one is image advertisement. Like they say, image says 1,000 words. So here you can include image as well as text. Simple, how it is, how it looks. So with this, customer can easily visualize your product offering or your service offering with visual impact. And on top of that, you can add a logo, set a display URL, right, that appear in the ad. So at the bottom here, you can just click, or at the top, these are URL that customer can click upon. Another good example of image ad, because this is static, another one will be you make use of a sliding image that contain text as well as images. So by doing this, customers will be able to look at a different service or product offering from one particular image. Because why? There is a view more button on the right hand side or on left hand side of the advertisement itself. Again, there is a call to action, there is a URL at the top, you can click play games, for example. So it is pretty interactive, I would say, right? And still, we are in the display ad, but this time around, let's take a look at something that most of us may have encountered whenever we go online. This is video advertisement, because why? Video ads are becoming very popular online tool, because why? They are very effective at capturing the attention of the potential consumer or customer. They can appear on a website while people are browsing. I'm sure some of you may have encountered that while you are viewing a website, suddenly one video pop up and then just run through and you can't stop until the whole video has played to the end, right? They can also appear in a sharing platform such as YouTube, for example, before a start of a video or a start of another video, for example. Advertisers can choose if their ad is skippable or if they want the users to sit through the full ad. So you have a full control, but of course there are costs involved with regards to this, right? And another type of video advertisement we're talking about, or print advertisement we're talking about, is floating ad. It will appear when you goes to a website and another page will be on top of the site that you want to view. So this is a very effective, simple, yet in your face kind of advertisement. Why? Because it open up when the windows float over the content of the web page, and whatever that you wish to view will be darkened in the background, so the attention will be on the pop-up message itself or the floating ad. The whole idea is to capture the user's attention, right? So, and one of the things that you may need to understand as a customer, for example, or potential customer, they have this ability to disable pop-up from their search engine as well. So by doing this, if you have a pop-up ad, it may not even appear on their, what I call it, page whenever they are searching for something. So this is something that we need to consider when we select the type of advertisement that we wish to have as part of our digital marketing campaign, right? So moving on, let's take a look at one of the oldest type of advertisement known in the World Wide Web, called banner ads. Okay, why it's called banner ad? Traditionally, it's rectangular in shape and it's appear as a banner either at the top of the page or by the side of the page here. So these are all considered as banner, like what you've seen on the road. They put it up. So it is a simple concept. They come in different size and appear, like I mentioned, at the top or the side of the web page. And the banner advertisement contain typically text as well as image, at times animation, that typically link to the advertiser's website. Okay, these are something that all of us may be familiar with. I'm just going to move on to another type of advertisement called social media advertising. So if you look carefully, right, at these two different type of social media advertising, I'm sure all of us in this room have encountered it before via Facebook, for example. So you can see here the name of the service provider will appear at the top, and then a simple description with simple singular image, and at the bottom here there is a call to action: install now, install the app. Or you can click somewhere here, it will bring you to the, what I call it, service provider website or Facebook page for you to find out more about the product offering or services. And both, if you look at the one on the left and the one on the right, they are almost identical in sense as to how the sequential of information are arranged from the top to the middle and to the bottom. And you can see the chunk of the information are placed in the middle of the page, because when we look, we always go straight to the middle, look at the image, then we look up to read what is the information all about before we goes down to the call to action button, right? Okay, so why use social media advertising? Because by design, social network allow brands to leverage real word of mouth. In the past, if we like a product or services, we would tell our friends, but we do not have a social media. How do we go about doing it? We talk to them. But now with social media platform, it enable you to share this information with your friends and your friends' friends and their friends' friend through your social media platform. So through this recommendation between friends, by targeting ads to friends of a brand followers, for example, this enable advertisers to pinpoint who their target market will be. It could be in the form of sponsors ad, because as an opportunity for brands to be more playful, fun, and experimental at times as compared to traditional media. Why? Because traditional media, you need to target a larger audience. So you've got to try to cover as much ground as possible. And the third thing is that why use social media is that the level of engagement, or it could be lack of it. Why? Because it's very specific. When sometimes it's too specific, it allow the message to be clear on social media advertisement. So through this process, you get useful feedback on your messages or on the offering of product and services, and it comes normally immediately to you via chat or feedback through the platform itself. And the turnaround time for producing and getting ads on social media is pretty much very attractive. Why? Because you offer a limited time, such as flash sales. If you remember, what is the date today? I can't remember, man. Wow, yeah, it's Singles Day. Well, I'm sure all of us has been inundated with a lot of pop-up message from our mobile device about all these 11/11 sales. So that is also part of a social media campaign as well. They make use of targeted marketing as well. And finally said click on social media ads are often more cost effective as opposed to other ad platform. And the platform offer a higher level of detail available in audience targeting. All right, so let's go on to social media advertising. How do I target the audience for that matter? Let's take a look at one good example that all of us are very familiar with, which is Facebook. So in Facebook itself, right, you are enable you are able to focus on demographic, for example, like age, gender, interest, as well as language. So you can actually narrow down to specific, even to where they are, like for example, country, region, or proximity to your businesses, for example. So these are how we narrow down our marketing campaign via social media. It could be even looking at interest, excuse me, for example, if you're focusing on someone who are keen or have an inclination to music, then you will be just targeting at this group of people. It could be sports, game, shopping, and many more. Or it could be even talking about behavior. Here we talk about behavior, talking about habits, like when do they plan to travel. So based on their search, because now we have VTL, for example. So there's a lot of traveling advertisement, booking of hotels, for example, coming out left, right, center. Or it could be in situation whereby connection. This include the people who have shown an interest in your page or profile and their friends or network, for example. And finally, you can even narrow it down to partner categories. This is information about offline behavior provided by third-party data provider. And all this can be narrowed down in this example here, you can see, right? So in this instance here, how does social media advertising work? Okay, so this is a question that we got to know and understand. When we talk about social media advertising, what exactly it means, right? Okay, I have a lot of questions coming in. Like I said, that I will address them later on. Thank you so much to all of you. Beautiful to have all these questions coming in. It shows that each and every one of you are really keen and interested to know more about digital marketing. Okay, let's go on to social media advertising. So in here, right, when we talk about social media advertising itself, first and foremost, again, you need to select your ad type. What is it? I will come to that later on. Then second step is, of course, you need to create your ad, because if you do not create your ad, your customer may not know what exactly is your product offering or service offering. Once you have created and you're satisfied, this ad will achieve its objective or its purpose, then finally your ad can be displayed, right? Okay, let's take a look at one example here. Social media advertising, you need to select your ad type. So when we talk about ad type here, what type of advertisement you want to create is based on your business goal and what you want to achieve with the ad. For example, on Facebook page, for example, you can promote your website to increase visit to it. To do this, click promote and select website, right? And alternatively, you can promote your page. So the whole idea is to get more like. To do this, what you need to do is click on promote your page, or you can do both to boost people to come into your website to view your product and services, and at the same time to like your page. So the more followers you have, and it's easier for you to target them with new campaigns, for example. So the choice is yours, but remember, each of these choice has a cost factor to it. So you really also need to look at your budget and excuse me, your what do you call it, revenue capabilities as well, and whether or not you can deliver what you promise. Okay, let's go on to the different type of social media advertising. When we talk about selecting your ad, for example, this is just one option here. You can see it is similar to what I shared earlier on. We're talking about display ad, text ad, or banner ad, for example. Always the rule of thumb is that you have this link at the top. This is like the headline: healthy option, smoothies and juice bar. So from here, your intended customer will know, this company offer healthy option of smoothies as well as juice bar. And then you provide some brief explanation of your service offering. And finally, you can click boost post. So by doing here, you are able to promote your page and get more likes. You can see here, customer can like, they can comment, and then can share. So in doing this, once you're satisfied, you can post this advertisement, and from there, potential customers will be able to see what you have put in, right? Okay, moving on, when we talk about social media advertising, how do you create an ad? Like I mentioned earlier on, primary text at the top. If you have an image, will be a lot more interesting, followed by a simple headline here saying that ultimate guide to Facebook custom audience, for example, and a brief description at the bottom, just a one-liner. Learn all the secret. Use keywords, call to action, learn all the secret. You want to know how to be successful, for example. How do I make my first million in 3 months, for example? So these are short description that attract attention. And finally, you can have a call to action button. Download now, install now, join now, for example. A simple button to get them to call to action. Because without this, if let's say, for example, you just have primary text and image without call to action, without headline, without description, then the customer look at it, okay, what am I supposed to do with all this information after I read them, right? So these are the things that you need to understand. All right, so let's move on. So when we talk about all this here, we also need to understand the technicality behind it. When we talk about image here, what is the best ratio for standard newsfeed advertisement? Square. Recommended size 180 by 180 pixel or above, right? So you need to understand the image should have under 20% text coverage to ensure maximum delivery. This can be checked using Facebook text overlay tool, right? So if you were to look at the previous one, there you go, the image with 20% text overlay at the bottom, 80% is the image itself. So this is just some rule of thumb that we need to observe in order to help us to grab the attention of our target market or consumer or customer for that, for example. Because if you're selling services or training courses, why not try face to camera image, for example? After all, people buy from other people, real life. Instead of using GIF, you make use of real life people in your image so they know, hey, this company is actually legit, right? So moving on, some of you might have a question. What is 180 by 180 pixel? Okay, I will come into that. Let's take a look at the videos itself. Okay, best ratio for standard ad will be square as well, 180 by 180, recommended length between 15 to 60 seconds. Why anything more than 1 minute, the tendency of people switching off is very, very high. How I know? I came from the media industry as well. Normally, when we talk about radio advertisement, 30-second, maximum 45-second. Anything beyond than that, people will tend to switch off, right? Especially in Facebook, they suggest 15 seconds is the ideal length for a video ad. You say 15 seconds is too short. I kid you not. It can be very, very impactful if you're able to compact the image and the text within that 15-second block to tell the customer exactly what is your product and services. It takes a lot of skill. To do it on your own may not be possible. Probably you may want to engage a professional companies to help you with the design, the concept of the video, or even the image for you to put it up, right? So some of you might be asking earlier on, what is 180 by 180? Let me just put it up here. If you convert pixel to centimeter, 180 pixel is equivalent to about 28.5 cm, right? So this is just one way to understand how big the image will be. But rest assured, well, you say, I know, 28 centimeter, can it fit into a mobile phone? That's where you need to ensure that is also mobile friendly. That means it able to scale down to fit into a mobile device, because we do not want our image to be elongated or cut halfway because it is not mobile friendly. Then customer might be saying that if this seller is not interested to cater to my needs, I would not be interested in even looking at the advertisement itself. So there goes your money down the drain. Let's take a look at some example of social media advertising display ad. Okay, this is just some example. Here you can see here again at the top, there is a simple headline. Dollar Shave Club with an image 80% and 20% catered to text. Curious about Dollar Shave Club? Okay, there are further images here to tell customer if they want to find out more, right? And then you can like the page, comment, and share, right? Because why? In Facebook, you can decide if the ad shows in the desktop newsfeed, mobile newsfeed, or both. If you have chosen to promote a page on a website, right, your ad can also be shown to your audience in the right column on the desktop. The Facebook ad network also offer placement of ads in IG, for example, because Facebook ad includes sponsored posts as well. So these are some points of consideration whenever you intend to buy a social media advertisement. Okay, another example of social media advertising. Okay, here where you have your ad with some interactive video to call to action. So by doing this, there are very little words. As you can see, there's a lot more imaginary movement to allow customers to see, reach out and give under 25. What exactly is it? It's about makeup. I can do this, I can do that. So by doing this, you are able to entice the customer. And if you look carefully, this what I call it, video is very short, very compact, 15 seconds or less. You are able to share the right message to the right audience with a high impact, top of the mind awareness, right? Okay. Then again, when we talk about digital marketing concept itself, let's understand what are some of the example here. Okay, I'm just going to share with you one particular example since we are in the middle of 11/11. I'm sure all of you are pretty much familiar with online shopping platform. What is it? Okay, I have this online shopping platform called Shopee. Let's take a look at it. Okay, here Shopee also have a push notification message that pop up on mobile devices. For example, they look almost exactly like SMS or text message, and the whole idea is to alert the user who have installed the Shopee app, great thing is happening. So allow Shopee to push this notification at any time to remind user of any upcoming or ongoing promotion, events, or tools that can serve as a reminder to your customer of what's happening. So it takes out the whole hassle of creating your own advertisement. Now Shopee is doing it for you. If you look at an example here, right, you can see for yourself. They say check out and blah blah blah, right? And how do you go about doing it? Well, you can actually purchase a push notification slot for X amount of dollars. Why push notification? Because through this, it allows you to get personalized message out to your preferred seller group, for example. For as little as $300, you get one credit to reach out to 10,000 target user. How much is that per user? You do the math, man, right? 10,000 divided by 300, that's very negligible, I would say, right? Through the process, then you don't have to worry about, oh, how do I need to target my target customer? All you need to do is just focus on your product and your service to make sure it is top notch. You leave everything else to the online platform to take care on your behalf. So Shopee also does social media marketing as well. You hear they reach and engage consumer through IG, Facebook, Insta TV channel, that Shopee create customer value through social media marketing. Because through this, they actively engage user through interactive, what I call it, posts and videos as well. The selected platform include FB, like I mentioned, IG or YouTube, as these three are one of the top social networking platforms, right? Because with this content ranging from creative games, review, giveaway, and upcoming campaign, they're able to cover a large spectrum of what user will find useful and engaging, right? This is just an example. If you remember earlier on, we also talked about email marketing. So if you are on a a conduit, a platform such as online shopping platforms such as Shopee or Lazada, for example, or AliExpress, for example, they will take away the headache of you having to design your own social media marketing campaign or even email marketing, for example. Well, because email marketing can be costly. How I know? I have personally worked in this industry as well, and we do charge customer arms and leg just to put together an email marketing campaign, right? We help to design, track, filter, clean the whole intended target market, right? And then help to monitor the whole entire campaign. And now you are getting it at a fraction of the cost. Instead of paying tens and thousands of dollars, you're probably paying like what? Just now push notification, $300. You get 10,000 target market, for example. So this is just one way to be cost effective in your marketing campaign. The whole idea here is you need to understand at the end of the day, right? Every business want to create brand awareness, right? Top of the mind among current and potential customers. Whole idea is to create direct customer engagement. That's why each and every one of you are here today, to understand how can I go about doing this so that I can generate traffic through my marketing campaign. But then again, I do not want to pay large sums of money. So this is where you can look at online platform like Shopee, Lazada, like I mentioned, where they do what we call cost sharing. Right? By doing that, you are able to focus on the things that matter, which is your product and services, leave everything else to the professional, right? But the other thing is that if let's say you want to go it alone, it is equally important to also understand your transportation or your delivery needs. If let's say you decide not to do with Shopee or Lazada, for example, this is something that you need to take note of, because we cannot just focus on how to market the product. The final stage is that how do I get the product to the customer's hand once they have purchased from me, and how long does it take before the customer reach or receive the product. So these are pertinent point that you need to take note of. So this is where you may want to work with independent transporter, for example, or organized company who provide delivery services. So you may want to go into Carousel to find out whether there is an independent contractor, reliable one that you can work with, for example, to deliver your product and services, and what is their capacity that they can manage, for example. Because if we do not do our homework, right, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we may fall into a trap, thinking that, okay, I'm just going to design, I'm just going to market, and then the customer will come to me. But how am I going to get the product to the customer? That is the most important question. Why? Because if you're not able to get your product to the customer, then you will not be getting any income or revenue from all your hard work. So it's equally important to take a look, do your homework, ladies and gentlemen. Look at different sites. For example, here they said, okay, daily working hours. So you know this guy is a dedicated transporter, and his mode of transportation is motorcycle, and he provide live GPS tracking. So by doing this, you can offer to your customer, once item has been picked up, you can track the item, right? So at least your customer or your buyer is assured that the item will be delivered to them at a certain time frame, for example. Not specific time, but a certain time frame, right? Look at the reviews, among other things. Okay, I'm just going to pause here for a while and look at some of the question here. Once, okay, Amy said, once registered a website, how to activate the domain? Okay, Amy, after you register a website, remember, you need to build the website. You need to put in content to the website. This is where having a professional to help you with the content building, design, and all that, and then they will be able to then activate the domain provided you give them the access right. If you do it on your own, there is, what should I say, hit or miss kind of situation. Why do I say that? It could be a situation whereby you thought that the website is ready and then you go live and then you realize certain pages are missing, for example. So this is where it is good to work with someone who are familiar in that environment. Okay. When Cox said that any recommendation to register an official website. Okay, so I'm just going to go online here, right, ladies and gentlemen, and share with you how do you go about doing it, right? Okay, here we go. I'm just going to put up a web page here and say how to register a website. You got to do your homework because why? I really do not know who's your target market. What is your area that you're looking at? Is it local, regional, or global, for example, right? There are different website service provider. Do your homework to check out on your own, right? And an anonymous attendee here said, is it possible to use IG, for example, instead of website to run our business? Yes, definitely. IG, they have a business account as well, just like Facebook. Click per ad basis, you need to pay. Nothing is free nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. If you want a free one, then you need to actively promote yourself on a social media platform like Facebook or Instagram, and then ask your friends to like, ask your friend to share those information with your friends. So those are what we call organic growth. But if you want a fastest growth, then there is a possibility of going into a paid advertising campaign either via IG or IG story or Facebook ad, for example. Is there a price listed for PPC? Okay, then you need to go to the website to find it out. Okay, how about the presentation slide? PDF is fine. Okay, this one I need to check with Cheryl later on, right? Cheryl will be able to update you whether the videos will be put up online in YouTube or what have you. It will be shared later on at the end of this session. Is there any way that we can request or paid for the word sponsor not to appear in my ad? Okay, here's the thing. There is such thing called ethics that we need to abide and observe. This is beyond our control. There is a body, a governing body that look into this. So to make sure there is no misleading, we do not lie to the customer. Therefore, the word sponsor need to appear in the advertisement, so that the customers know that this is a sponsored advertisement, not something generic, for example. And another one is asking, will you organize more in-depth session on how to use business Google and business Facebook? Definitely. Where can you go? I will share with you later on, right? Because this is just an overview, a preview. Within 1.5 hours, I will not be able to share everything at one go, right? Okay, I think there is, yes, Cheryl mentioned, Smart Nation Singapore mentioned, the information will be uploaded, the recording of this webinar on the Smart Nation YouTube channel early next week. So do look out for it. As for the sharing of training deck, okay, uploading the slide on Smart Nation YouTube channel early next week as well. The recording will be uploaded, not the deck itself, right? But the recording itself, you can view via Smart Nation YouTube channel early next week. All right, so let's get back to the PowerPoint slide itself, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm almost coming to the end of my session, right? Okay, there is this video that I'd like to share with all of you. What is the video all about? Okay, this video talk about the digital skills gap. I mean, that's the reason why we are here, to find out more about what is happening, how we can close that digital skills gap. So let's watch this video. And after that, I'm just going to open it up to all of you if you have any question pertaining to the presentation or the video itself. If not, I will have a question for all of you. Okay, here we go. Let's watch the video.
If you're watching this, you're among the 3% of people that understand that the future of work is going to look very different from what it is now. So keep watching. Let's see where we're heading. It's also exciting, right? Siri will recognize your voice even if you're 5 meters away from your phone. That new chatbot feels totally real. Self-driving cars are no longer fiction. You can analyze your DNA. You tried flying that drone for the first time, and you're thinking of buying a smart speaker to make your life so much easier. A few years from now, and that's something like 3 years, not 30, artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, mass 3D printing, biotechnology, chatbots, virtual reality, deep learning, drones, augmented reality, smart objects will all be deeply enrooted in our everyday lives. Just like computers, phones, or electricity are for us today. Oh well, is this really gonna happen? And if it does, you'll adapt when the time comes, right? Life is good. You love your job. You've been working for this established company for a few years. You're comfortable in your position. You know what you're good at. People like you, and that last presentation you gave got you some amazing reactions. You're safe with your company. In the meantime, you see an article or two speculating on the future of jobs. McKinsey published a report stating that 45% of all current tasks could be automated with present technology. The World Economic Forum estimates that 33% of jobs in 2020 don't even exist yet. But what do they know, right? You've got time. Oh look, the supermarket just introduced self-cashier machine. You're at the airport checking in luggage. What the heck happened to all the real people at the check-in desk? Gone. Replaced by machines. But it's only the low-skilled jobs, right? Nope, think again. In 2012, there were 150,000 humans working on Wall Street. 3 years later, automation has cut that number down to 100,000. That's 1/3 gone. But it's only the mathematical and scientific jobs, right? Nope, think again. This Japanese insurance company, Fukuoka Mutual Life Insurance, is already replacing all its human insurance claim workers with an AI system that will handle customers more efficiently. See these articles? They're written by algorithms, and we can't tell the difference with human written content. And thinking of converting yourself to being an online poker player? Too late. There's an AI that can already beat humans at it. Most journalists, tax consultants, marketeers, technicians, knowledge workers, lawyers, even the person editing this video right now will to some extent have been impacted or automated by technology in a couple of years. And what have you been doing? Probably watching Netflix. And the problem is, the machines don't wait. And the machines, they don't watch Netflix. So what are the forces at play here? Basically, there's 10 million developers out there using increasingly simple and cheap technology to build new products and services. Some as young as 12 are already coding the future. Even that safe company you work for is increasingly under outside threat. And it's not just the Google, Amazon, Facebooks, and Apples of the world that I'm talking about. There are now tens of thousands of startups out there eating away at all sorts of jobs. Now, are they creating many jobs in the process? Let's look at some stats. Travel a bunch of years back to when Kodak ruled the world of photography. They were worth 38 billion and employed 140,000 people. That's approximately $270,000 per employee.
Our people work with pride to make Kodak a creative and innovative company.
Fast forward to recent times, YouTube sold for 1.65 billion with a mere 65 employees. That's $25 million per employee. Instagram, which had 13 employees and was sold for $1 billion. That's $77 million per employee. WhatsApp sold for 19 billion with 55 employees. That's a staggering 345 million per employee. So how is this all possible? Technology has allowed the emergence of what we call exponential organizations. These are exponentially fast-growing companies that leverage technology and require less employees but more tech-savvy ones.
You will find that we are technology optimists. We believe that technology is a major driver of change in the world.
And as software continues to eat up the world, more companies are trying to replicate these exponential companies. Hire less people, but grow exponentially through technology. As this happens, job roles are slowly disappearing and being replaced by skill sets. Employers require you to know an ever-growing number of new and ever-changing fundamental skills in order to use the technologies they've implemented. Master the fundamentals and you can master the rest. A digital skills gap is growing for both mid-skill and high-skill level jobs. Before you know it, you've become irrelevant. But wait, what's this doomsday message? There's actually a way to leverage technology before it leverages you. And in fact, it's never been easier to do so. This might sound kind of corny, but it starts with the right state of mind. It starts with having a growth mindset, where you have the desire and the confidence that you can learn anything. Shift your thinking on how these technologies will rattle and mutate, but enrich your work life. Because yes, if you play your cards right, technology will make your work life and your life in general much, much better. The fact is that technology will actually remove boring, repetitive jobs from your way, but only if you understand the fundamentals. And you have no excuse not to do so. How can you stay relevant if you can't talk the lingo? How can you stay relevant if you can't execute? Can you talk tech? Can you talk APIs? Can you talk code? Can you talk data? while slow educational institutions are struggling to keep up. That's not an excuse. Train yourself, take your education in your own hands. Learn to code, learn about behavioral psychology, automation tools, playing with data, user experiences, be curious. And if you're an employer, train your people. Online and offline courses have never been more readily available or rich in content. It's time to build something. Your greatest credential in this new era is your output of stuff. Proof of your awesomeness. A website, a blog, a prototype, a simple data model. It's time to build cool stuff and showcase it. It's time to start learning. It's time to get shit done. It's time for your growth.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, how ready are you for the future of work? This is the question that we gotta ask ourselves, right? Apart from just digital marketing, what else is it that we need to learn in order for us to run our businesses effectively, or even to run our life, our work as a professional, as an individual effectively? Because as we sit down here and we speak, right, we talk, we share, the world is moving at an exponential speed. Just from the video you saw how fast things are changing, right, ladies and gentlemen. So what is important and key is to understand where we are right now. And if you look, the key word here is attitude. Attitude is the one that gonna determine how far we go, how high we achieve. And if you look at the alphabet A to Z, all in all, there are 26 letters. And if A is 1, T is 20, the next set of T is 20, I is 9. And then the third T is 20, U is 21, D is 4, and E is 5. If you add up these two lines together, it will give you exactly 100, right? And I'm very, very touched that each and every one of you here are present in this webinar. A bit is only for 1 hour plus session, but you showed your keenness